coming back to your senses. That phrase has such deep truth to it. If it were only that simple, I would have never left them. Our senses allow us to perceive the world around us and to see threats and opportunities. I lived with my threat. It provided for me. I switched to survive that situation. Tuning back into our senses naturally brings up the experiences of why we chose blindness in the first place. Returning face to face to the problems we didn't have answers for. How do we overcome it? How do I get out of here? And that's the game I journeyed down. The connection between feeling my experience, learning new things, and the power to slay my dragons. I wasn't prepared to take on the world. What I experienced was what many do in the systems we grow up in, where they don't really teach us how to fight back, stand up for ourselves, or say no. Well-behaved, obedient, and quiet, that was the goal. If you've spent any time with a child, you know there's a tremendous amount of energy waiting to express. Now imagine that energized, impressionable child at a painful sense, yelling something is wrong, and then no clue what to do. That's a recipe for some toxic stuff. The self-alarm becomes the problem, and numbing the natural answer. We feel this alarm. It's emotion, and if we're going to numb, then we have to have less emotion. How does one get less feeling? Think about it this way. There are two ways to shut someone up: silence them or drown them out. The healthy way in early childhood is to rely on our parents and caretakers to calm us down. But when that's not an option, and there's something yelling, well, find something louder. Press the button. Press the button again. Binging over and over on what we can find. Eating, drinking, videos, daydreaming, sex, anger. A few of the many tools are tools of louder. One of mine is ice cream. I'm sure if we counted it all up, there'd be quite a few above ground pools filled all the way up. The thing is, it gives us something, a feeling, all the worry going away, a warmth, inside hug, the frantic replaced by sweet, and the driving yelling gone, thoughts erased. If that place only lasted forever, but it doesn't. Reality comes rushing back in, harsher every time. Crash states, withdrawal, confusion, overwhelm, responsibilities, all the things left undone. Press the button again. It doesn't even need to be drugs. I've done it with thoughts. You wonder why people watch so much of the news? Anger. The button, after pressing it, is no longer a choice. It needs to be pressed harder and harder. More and more extreme behaviors. More and more substance. More and more need. All the way to burnout. You've arrived at the destination. Dysregulation, inability to connect, exhaustion, withdrawal from others, anxiety. All down. The narratives of this change. The story of the pain changes. The caretaker isn't safe. Trying to make social connections with those who don't like us. Cultures where expression is punished. Doing an act that feels unforgivable. My story was I was trapped, didn't know who I was, and hated myself. I didn't have an exit plan or a way to escape. For me, the unknown was scarier than the known. In situations with no escape and no answer, checking out is the answer. My boiling point came when the pain of my present exceeded the fear of the unknown. I quit my job, moved, and entered the unknown. Escaping to God knows where, I had no clue. Returning to our sense doesn't happen overnight, literally. They did a study on meth users, and it took 12 to 17 months to rebuild the dopamine receptors back to their natural levels. When we push ourselves to extreme highs too often, we lose, literally, receptors that take time to regrow. There's a brain principle that a little bit of something makes everything work better, but a little bit of something, but a lot of something makes it work worse. Fewer receptors, and what we do have is not working as well, creating that numb feeling with deadened emotions. If the goal is to feel less, addiction works. There are a lot of problems, though. We've already covered quite a few. Disconnection from reality, dysregulation, pain. I do want to highlight one in particular. It makes a mess of how we make choices. This is one of the reasons reconnecting to ourselves is so difficult. Our ability to make clear choices is muddled. Emotions are the trigger of choice, the spark that starts the flame. Our logical part sets up the dominoes, and our emotions get it started. It's the reason people get stuck in endless thought loops, unable to move forward, or they explode to a tiny inconvenience. When our emotions are compromised, we make decisions too early or too late, or too soft or too hard. The more I've connected to and honed my emotions, the better, clearer, and faster I've been able to make choices. The first part of reconnecting to our senses sucks. There's no sugarcoating it. It's learning how to feel, interpret, and manage our pain. A habit switch from let's do everything we can to not feel to let's hear what they have to say. Just like a toddler or someone learning a new language, the communication starts rough. What is trying to be said? How do I use my voice? Learning is messy, raw, chaotic, and beautiful. Celebrating learning is an insult to judgment. It embraces trial and error. And it's one of the most beautiful things in life. This is the belief change, learning gives, that you have what it takes to figure it out. I gave up safety, I gave up the known, and took the plunge, completely unprepared, actually minus prepared, and it was brutal. I look back with pride though, knowing the darkness I defeated, depression, self-hate, fear, not knowing who I was or what to do. If there is one magic wisdom piece, it is this, that falling in love with learning is coming back to our senses. When we navigate this path to return to our senses, we live in a richer experience. Our senses get sharper instead of duller, not chasing expensive highs that leave debt-ridden lows. Instead of tolerating what's going on around us, we drive toward change, living empowered. The unknown, an invitation where we find what we love and what we're capable of. Life becoming a game with strategies, tactics, and plans of attack. Thinking and decision-making gets clearer, sharper, and more effective over time. Goals are no longer fantasies, but a mission to bring into reality. You can try, you can fail, you can succeed. Doing things simply to see what happens. You have what it takes to work through. Listening to the world around us and choosing and practicing how you want to respond. Life is your story to write.